Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be looking at a bicycle that might be for you if you're looking for a full-size bicycle with front suspension, a peak of 1300 watts rear in the hub motor, and will fit in a space less than 20 1/8 of an inch. So let's check out the Kingbull Literider. So hopefully your RV is not quite that high off the ground. That is about sternum level. It's a off-road RV with 35-inch tall tires. So hopefully your RV isn't that tall, but I'll just show you how this thing folds together. Now to get it into such a small space, we do have to take the handlebars off. If you have a little bit more space, you won't need to do that, but there's no tools required. This just slides into here and it has a quick release clamp, folds up, and then the whole frame of the bike just swings together. Just like that. And then there's a little safety over here that you just put in so that this lever can't come down. The other critical reason this was able to fit in such a small space is that it has these cool pedals that fold up and you don't have to take them off. They don't require any tools. So it just gives you another couple inches on both sides of the bike of clearance to get it in a really tight spot. Without those folding pedals, the other folding e-bike where we last reviewed, we had to remove the pedals. Granted, that's super easy, but it is a nice little convenient feature that I've not seen on a lot of other bikes, is the folding pedals. Along with the folding pedals, I just want to show off another little cool feature of this bike real quick, is it has this kind of suitcase handle down here. Now, they don't mention anywhere on their website that this is supposed to be a carrying handle, but it sure does work great for it. We just recently did a ride where we were riding along the train tracks and having to cross over the train tracks over and over and over again for about 20 miles. And to be able to grab down here nice and low and just pick up like this and step it over the train tracks was so much easier than when you pick up high on a bike like this and then have to move it. It was a lot easier on this bicycle than the other one to grab it right here. So I thought that was a super handy thing that they don't really market the bike about. And it might just be a welded in support for the frame. Regardless, it works really well as a carrying handle. Not so much when it's folded, but when it's fully put together, like to put it on a rack, carry it up some stairs or do something like that. But very little assembly, and it came with a really nice tool set. Some of the tool sets that we have found with these e-bike companies, you'll get a 15mm wrench and it's more like a 16. It'll be stamped with a 15, but it won't fit any of the 15mm bolts. This bike actually came with some nicer wrenches, a nice pedal wrench, a nice Allen wrench set. And so if you don't have any tools, this will come with all the tools and pretty good tools to put it together. Now the fast facts on this bicycle: it is a 4-inch fat tired front suspension, 80mm of travel on the front, and it has a rigid frame in the rear with a 7-speed Shimano gear set, and then it has a 750 watt continuous power motor that is rated for 1300 watts peak. The battery pack here in the frame, which I like these ones in the frame, it always looks very sleek, is a 48 volt, 15 amp hour battery pack. It does have a half twist throttle, and then it has a full color LCD display that does have USB charging. If you did have a phone holder here on the handlebars, you could charge your phone while you're going down the road, which is super cool if you're using this as a commuter. So I will dock it a point for being USB-A. USB-A is something on this planet that I hate so much. At least it's not USB micro. This bike does come with hydraulic disc brakes, which is really nice. And these have been great out of the box. We haven't had to adjust them. Some of these e-bikes come in and the brakes drag and you're constantly fiddling with it. This particular bike came out of the box, ready to go. The bike does come standard with plastic fenders and a big bright front headlight. And it does also have an integrated tail light that is also a brake light. So some of these bikes, it's just a tail light, but this one is actually hardwired into the main battery. You don't have another battery to fool with, and it's a brake light and tail light. Kingbull did send us this. This does not come with the package. Maybe sometimes on sale it does, but this is a front basket. As you can see, the 4 bolt holes here, and it just lines up right here. And they did include the hardware where the headlight, it gets rerouted, gets remounted right here. We haven't been using it like that. We actually have been using it back here on the rear, and then the bolt holes, none of the bolt holes line up, but what we do is we take a couple of these small straps and tie it down, and I think that's super neat. So if you do splurge on the basket, you can use it for the front or rear, which is kind of cool. Even though it's not designed that way, we found it to be more handy back here strapped down. Kingbull says the top speed on this bike is 28 miles an hour, and we'll verify that. This bike does have a 400-pound weight limit, and it's really adjustable. It has 18 inches of adjustability on this seat post for different size riders. You also have a toolless adjustability of your handlebars. So you can set your handlebars, that's the lowest setting, and then you can set your handlebars all the way up. There's the max setting for your handlebars. So you can get a good look at how much adjustability that you have there. Let's throw a helmet on and take this thing for a ride and see how it does in some different conditions. We got some hills here. We're in the desert of Arizona. See how it does in the loose sand, some hills, and just see if we can get it to throw any codes or see what the top speed's like out here. All right, I do like the dedicated on-off button. I will tell you that the screen is a little bit dim, but what does work on this screen is the screen likes to be looked at what it seems like not from an angle and straight down. So if I rotate it up like this and I'm looking straight down on the screen, you can't notice that on the camera, but as a person, I would think it would work better like this, but it actually in bright sunlight, if you look directly down on it like this, you get a better view of it. I'm gonna go ahead and select pedal assist level 1. And take off. And what I can immediately tell you before we even get going is this upright seating position is really nice. If you're going to be putting some miles on something, commuting on a bike, this seating position is super handy. You're not leaned over on your arms. You're sitting right up on this nice padded seat. I also have the tires aired down a little bit. The side of the tires recommend 30 PSI. I've got them at around 18 just because it's off-road and it's kind of rough. But what that will hurt, taking the air out of your tires like that will hurt your efficiency and your top speed. So if we don't hit 28, I do have the tires aired down 12 PSI lower than they're supposed to be. All right, I'm not gonna give it any pedal and assist. Got a big flat straightaway on some gravel. Let's go. Very responsive. There's almost no lag in the throttle, which I really like. 22 already, 25, 27, 29 actually, slight downhill. Indicated 30. And you can hear how quiet those brakes are. We've been testing this bike for about a week already, and I have yet to get it to throw any kind of code or overheat or anything like that. Now granted, it's only been in the 70s, so that might change if it's in the 90s. Now what I do like already about this bike is how quick and responsive the throttle is. Some of the e-bikes program a lot of delay into the throttle, and I've talked to some of the companies and they say it's for safety reasons. I'm not exactly sure what the logic is there, but I really like how responsive the throttle is on this Kingbull Literider. Now you don't get a ton of travel in the front suspension. It is 80 millimeters of front suspension travel, which is not a ton. But for this style of bicycle, it's more than adequate. Something to get you around the campground, get you around downtown, head to work. Test those brakes one more time. They're so quiet. So quiet. You can lock up the front and the back, no problem. And they just don't make any noise. I love that. This bike also has a really nicely done cadence sensor. Torque sensor is, of course, the more expensive way to go. And it's most people's preference. But I really like this cadence sensor. It's tuned really well. It's almost as good as a torque sensor. There's no delay in it. It just feels really natural. So we're in pedal assist 5 right now. I'm gonna cut it down to pedal assist 1. Let's go ahead and kind of measure it here. How many pedal rotations it takes to get the pedal assist to kick in. All right, so my leg's halfway down. So about a little more than half a rotation of the pedals and that assist kicks in. That's really nice. Some of the bikes we've tested are up to 4 rotations of the pedals before you get any kind of e-assist. I find this bike really comparable to the Rattan that we tested. The only real difference I see being between those two bikes is this one is folding. That does add a little bit of weight. So we are in pedal assist 1 right now. And I don't know if you can read the screen, but pedal assist 1 is good for about 10 miles an hour. Pedal assist 2 is getting us up to about 15 miles an hour. Pedal assist 3, that's about 19, 4, it's about 23, then pedal assist 5 will take you on up to 28. Now this is not the cheapest folding e-bike on the market, you know, with a 750 watt continuous 1300 watt max output motor with some front suspension and fat tires. We have reviewed bikes that are cheaper than this, like the KBO Compact. It is not a complete apples to apples comparison between those two bikes, however, because the KBO Compact has mechanical brakes. It does not have these hydraulic brakes. The KBO also had some issues with the cadence sensor tuning. It had a delay programmed into it. The same with the throttle. You twist the throttle and you'd have to wait a second or two before the throttle kicked in. Where this bike, there's no delay and it's very responsive. I don't know if you can hear it in the mic, but this is really loose top layer of gravel that just rolls around under your tires. All right, it's pretty steep and loose right here. No problem. I can hear a little wheel spin in the back. Yeah, no problem. So that was all pedal assist 2. I bumped it up to pedal assist 5. Again, it's hard to show how steep that is on camera, but that's very steep. But we've been putting this bike through the paces, almost exclusively riding it on stuff like this. I think if you were just getting this bike to ride around a campground or to ride around your apartment complex or go to work, I don't think you would have any problems. If you're hearing some rattling, that's just the keys. I have not taken the keys off of the front of the bike yet. It comes with 2 keys zip tied to the wiring of the bike, and I just haven't taken them off yet. All right, before we just make everything out to seem to be all peaches and cream with this bicycle, I do want to go into a negative that we have found. Down here, there's supposed to be a metal bar that comes down and makes a U, and what that is when you fold it up, it rests on that metal bar kind of like a stand. And on our last ride, we took it up, and if it hits a rock, there's nothing supporting it. It's just a freestanding loop of metal, and it was just kind of cheap pot metal. It's a different aluminum than the rest of the frame is made out of, and it doesn't have any support going back, so anything that hits it, it bends, and once it's bent, it's gonna break. You know, it seems like a cheap kind of pot metal. So that, I did run into that. If you're not riding this thing off-road real hard, you're probably not gonna have that problem, but we did break this off. Now it's completely separate from the frame. The frame's completely fine. The frame is a much higher quality aluminum. So here's the piece of aluminum that fell off. You can see in here, it just broke. It bent one time. You can see where it bent hitting a railroad tie, and that just caused a crack in it, and then it just fell off after that. There are cheaper options. The KBO, for instance, matches this bike for most specs, but I believe this is worth the extra money. If quiet, strong disc brakes matter to you, and not having a delay in your throttle, and have a cadence sensor that kicks in less than half a pedal stroke, I think this is worth the extra money. The little bit of premium features on this, if you can swing it, I definitely think is worth it. So that's it, our review of the Kingbull. Only real problem we had was knocking this thing off. If you guys want to check this out, please go check it out. There's a link down below. And if not, and you're not looking for a folding cargo e-bike, then we'll see you in the next video.